and this 2017 Ford F-350 Super Duty SEMA build could be yours.
Hello, sir.
What up?
How are you?
How do I get in this?
Gotta jump.
Oh.
Good to
What
see
up,
you.
bro? Good to see you, man.
Thanks for coming, man.
Sick truck.
Thank you, sir. Ready to go go-karting?
I think so. Hopefully, I fit in the car.
It's gonna be pretty rowdy. You ever been on those little electric carts before?
Yeah, I've done some of them.
They're snappy.
First and foremost, Miles, thank you for coming on board with us here.
Thank you.
And supporting us, obviously, with the giveaway and give back effort and stuff, you know.
No,
You guys have always been in our corner when it comes to taking care of stuff like that, and it's super cool. So tell me where your passion started.
I think my passion started kind of down the street from my house. There was some, guys there, like the local kind of gangster guys.
Yeah.
And they were building a 64 Impala.
Oh.
And I would go there after school and like help sand and like do different things.
How old
and
were you
stuff
at this
like that. I was probably like 8 years old, you know.
So 8 years old,
Yeah.
and you're just like vibing down the street, hanging out with the guys.
I wasn't doing anything illegal. I was just not afraid of anything, right? So I was out there in the streets. I mean, going out and seeing kind of what's up.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
But I think it's that, curiosity
Yep.
is what's driven me to start, multiple businesses and do all the things that I do and develop new products and stuff, because I'm really as curious as the consumer.
Sure.
I'm kind of like, dude, is this going to work, right? So it's kind of like I'm as excited as probably the people that want to buy it.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing to kind of work through that and really be kind of challenged every day with like, how do you do something better? How do you make people's lives easier and
Sure.
stuff like that? So it's been really, really cool.
Kind of take us through that, like where did you, or I guess how many of you had, what have you done?
Yeah, so, my first venture was actually in the music industry. So I had a label, music label.
Really?
I signed to BMG through Zoo Entertainment.
Okay.
So I was 21 years old, signed a $1.5 million deal. Yeah.
Holy cow.
But what they didn't tell me was going to take $3 million to run the company.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they don't tell you these things, and our funding got frozen when they did this acquisition. So I ended up taking all the money that I had saved, dumped it back in the company to try to save it.
Sure.
And that was probably the first mistake I've ever made in business in my life.
Yep.
So that taught me a lot just about life, right? So I was going through a lot of anxiety and all that stuff, and I'm like, I want to go back to my roots, which is cars.
Okay.
So I started kind of on this path, like I'm going to go back to cars. What am I going to do? Do a rim company? What am I going to go get a job? So I saw, equity ownership of that business, and I was
Yep.
just like, okay. And I was watching TV, and there was this auto auction, and there was a Mercedes S500, I think at the time, Rentec engine, Lorenzo body kit, Lorenzo wheels. It was a white one, and the guy goes, "It's a celebrity car. It's going to sell for double the value." And I sat there going, "Dude, who's the celebrity? Like this car's sick."
Yeah, it's got to be somebody
Yeah,
big, right?
This is going to be something dope, right? And there were celebrities, Alan Jackson, and I'm like, who the f is Alan Jackson?
Like the country music guy?
Dude, who the hell is Alan Jackson? And they
Yeah.
were explaining who he is on the TV and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, I know all these celebrities, and if he's going to add double the value for that car, I'll get these celebrities to endorse these cars and the
Exactly.
rims
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So thank God for Alan Jackson for giving me the concepts to start Dub Magazine.
That's
Right? One
That's
of the
such
top
an odd
urban
correlation.
magazines in the world, right? And then so launched that, and just it took off. And in the first 2 years, we launched Dub City diecast toys. Sold 25 million toys.
Jesus.
We sold more Escalades than Cadillac, I think. You know what I'm saying? Because we had like the miniatures
'cause
of
they
like
were little
Shaq's
guys. Yeah,
Escalades
yeah.
and all that stuff. So then in 05, we did a video game called Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I spent many years, because in 05 I was 12, right? I was a young kid, so that was my jam back
So
in
we
the
helped
day.
develop that, did the, work with them on getting real licenses.
Yeah.
That was a cool thing. We had real wheel companies, real suspension companies.
Which was
you know,
almost unheard of at
yeah,
the time,
it-
too, by the way.
We're real car companies and everything
Yeah.
else. I mean, it was one of those things where we sold 9.6 million games. We still sell games today.
I believe
from
that.
that game.
Yeah.
It was just really, really cool to be able to do things that were like culturally phenomenal.
Yeah.
Are
there still moments where it feels surreal? Where it's like, because you've done a ton, probably more than a lot of people will ever do in their life. Are there still moments that it's like, holy f, that's my brand, or that's my product, or those are my people, you know. Do you still get those?
You know, it's funny. I get asked that a lot of times, and it's like I have to sit there and kind of pinch myself and go, you know, I've built 6 companies with over $650 million in revenue. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm just so lucky and blessed to be able to be, you know, in the game, and, you know, being a street kid. And I never thought I was going to live past, you know, 20.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like I feel like I'm on borrowed time. So I feel so fortunate, but, you know, I have to kind of stop and smell the roses.
Yep.
Right? And I've been kind of training myself to do that lately. And it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because my mind just goes and goes and goes and goes. I still get really excited, and you know, the biggest thing for me is the reaction.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do people like it? You know, all that stuff and everything else. And it's, you know, I really, you know, design wheels for people to try to, you know, give them the feels, you know, to make them happy.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's super cool, man. It's awesome to hear that. You know, again, just with the respect I have for you and the brand and all the stuff you've done, it's super cool. Probably my favorite thing is just how relatable you are.
Thanks,
you know?
man.
It's so awesome.
And I work hard on that every day. I mean, that's something that doesn't come natural.
Hell yeah.
You know, it doesn't, because we always want to hide behind our insecurities and act like we're better than that, right?
Yep.
And I did that for many years. It made me go crazy.
Thanks for the ride. Let's go crush out some go-karts.
Go take it easy on me. I'm short, fat, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully I could breathe in that car.
Hopefully,
you know?
eh? Oh,
Yep.
there you go, Chief.
Hey, he had the child locks on me in here. Watch, this guy has child locks in here.
So basically, Miles, what's going to happen here is while we're driving go-karts,
Yep.
I'm also going to have questions for you. So it's going to be super quick questions.
Let's do it.
Let's go! All right, Miles, are you ready? We got a rapid fire session right here.
Let's do it, man.
First thing that comes to your mind, all right?
Yep.
Talking or texting?
Talking.
Favorite city to visit?
New York City.
New York City, of all
Yeah,
places.
New York City.
What's a nickname that your friends or family call you?
Fat ass.
What's the last song you remember listening to?
NWA straight out of Compton.
Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
I'm Asian, so I'm a good 7.
Would you rather have invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
For why?
Because I'm stealth. I want to be sneaky, you know?
Favorite childhood TV show?
Definitely Flipper.
Flipper, dude. You can't go
Flipper.
wrong with Flipper.
Yep.
Oh,
Jesus what happened?
Christ. Come on, you guys. It's fun, huh, dude? Yeah, Brandon Crash. Winner, baby.
Keep it moving.
Damn, dude. Woo-hoo!
Watch out. Watch out. Keep it going. Whoa. Got her.
Of course, Miles,
Awesome.
thank you so much for coming out,
No,
joining
dude,
us.
thanks for having me, dude. It was awesome.
Of course, joining us is Anthony, our charity and PR's manager, the man that pretty much put all of this stuff together. So we had a blast, man. We shredded the track.
Yeah, we absolutely did. Did I see you left behind on that last run, or?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Listen. I got a dead cart, right? I was like flat-footed the whole track.
I'm sure everybody says that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, dude, I was crushing it the set before, and then they swapped me cards. Like at one point, I was rowing to try and speed up, you know.
Hang on to somebody else.
For real. So, I mean, obviously, guys, we had a blast today, right? Of course, the reason we're here is obviously that TIS is a huge partner in this truck giveaway that we're doing, and more importantly than that is supporting our give back efforts, to really raise awareness for mental health and stuff like that. So, I mean, diving right into the nitty gritty, Miles, man, like tell us why, like why does TIS want to be involved? Like what does that mean to you?
TIS as a brand, we're really about community, giving back and stuff like that. And, myself and my partners are, really big on mental health and just making sure that, the world's a better place, right? So it's kind of like, it's business, we want to make money, but you know what? Culturally, we want to make a difference.
Yeah.
We want people to feel good when they see our brand or our logo, and then when they're on Team TIS, it actually means something. For me personally, on my journey, I struggle with mental health issues my whole life. My brother committed suicide 2 years ago, so this is something that affects us. I wanted to commit suicide since I was 7. So there's times where there's times when business is doing 50, 60 million. I'm living in a mansion, all these cars, and I'm miserable. So it took a lot for me just to kind of survive and continue to thrive because it's so difficult. But I think that it's when you have a different mindset and you have what I call different gifts, it changes life. So I train every day so I could be at the place mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually where I could actually handle it when we get there.
So sorry that you lost a loved one, a family member.
Well, you lost a loved one too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this is something that's impacting the world. It's super, super important, and I speak all over the world about anxiety and fear and business and all that stuff and kind of, together. And I tell people, you could be the best, smartest person in the world. If you don't get your mind right, you can't function, right? So you're either going to be at 100 miles an hour or at 0. I'm super stoked to work with you guys on this giveaway, raise money and awareness for mental health. And like I said, it hits home with me, with my brother, my personal struggles and the journey and everything else that I see out there, and it's necessary.
And I know even just from a stress standpoint and anxiety standpoint, I know all of us have gone through that, and some of that is natural, right? They have anxious thoughts, stressful thoughts, but if somebody was to come up to you and say, hey, you know what, I have a similar story, I'm having a really hard time, especially emotionally and mentally and even spiritually.
Oh, yeah.
What would you tell them?
I would tell them that anxiety is not caused by anxiety. Anxiety is caused by trauma. Yeah. So there's a traumatic experience that transpired in lives or multiple, abandonment, whatever it is, right? And that creates the trauma. Sure. So I tell people they need to actually medicate the sickness, not the symptom.
Right. So you want to get to the root of the issue.
Yeah, the actual cause of what's making you feel that way. And then if you're conscious of those thoughts as you go into the situation, then you could kind of choose what you want to do. But, when you're in serious anxiety mode, it's really, really difficult. Acknowledging it, working through it, getting therapists, getting coaches, life coaches, healers, priests, God, whatever, to just band through to actually help you get through it.
I was gonna say, we use the analogy of a soda bottle, and life consistently shakes that bottle up, and you have to let
and then you
pressure
fucking throw some Mentos in there
exactly,
and it's over.
It's over.
You know what I mean, right?
That was like 2020.
Yeah,
for real.
That was the mental.
But you gotta let that pressure out of that soda bottle, right? Or else it'll blow up. So like a lot of common conversation that we have is like, is what's shaking your bottle? If you see somebody that's super tore up or having a bad day, it's like, man, what's shaking your bottle today? And again, it's getting it out on the table, being like, here it is, and then you can look at it and be like, this stuff.
Yeah.
You throw it out, because it's here.
And also on top of that, like the importance of peer support. So Dustin and I, we work together, right? And so there's a lot of times where we're checking in on each other, like, how are you doing? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
outside of like, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Good. All right, let's go to work.
And then just doing some of the simple things, even with self-care. So like to take care of your mental health, we all have mental health. We all need to take care of, our
But not everybody does.
Right, exactly.
And that's the unfortunate thing, right? We're all lucky that we have, all the things we have. And if we're losing things, it's unfortunate, but God put us here to actually do something with that and make a difference, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, how do you tell that story? How do you go out there and go and motivate the world and move everybody forward? because I know that there's so many people out there that are like even listening today that are struggling. It's like, yo, we're all here for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's really what it's about.
You're not alone.
No.
Exactly.
When you figure out how many people are actually have anxiety and have all these issues and traumas and all these other stuffs or addiction,
Yep.
the other is the minority.
Yeah, for real.
Right? I mean, seriously.
Truthfully, yeah.
Right? Then you're like, damn, this is the Army, right?
Yeah.
This is the Team TIS. This is the Custom Offsets, right?
Yep.
This is like your team, and it's like, it's okay. Once it's okay, then people are not worried about what people think,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right? When something happens to us, our first thing is not really what happened to us, what we're thinking about that gives us anxiety. It's what are people going to think about what happened to us.
Yeah.
So once we get over that fear of that, we're okay.
Again, I just want to thank you for not only coming on board, for supporting us in the giveaway, for helping us with the donation, but man, for being vulnerable with us. It's hard to step outside of your comfort zone. And
Absolutely.
I'm a little emotional, so excuse me.
It's all good, bro.
But
It's all
like,
good.
bro, it's so cool to be able to sit down and just share stuff like this with guys, man, and understand.
Guys
that
don't
we've-
usually do this.
Yeah, guys don't usually do this, and it's powerful to be like, hey, man, we've been there, So truly, I mean, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the partnership.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything that you guys do, and so blessed and huge opportunity.
Absolutely.
So and can't wait to give that rad truck
Yeah, that's
away.
gonna be
Right?
wild,
Let's
dude.
go. Right? Who's gonna win that truck?
Heck yeah.
Again, obviously doing a big giveaway here. If you guys are interested, you can find that customoffsets.com. We'll have the truck there. We'll have some video stuff. Get entered to win. Super, super simple. So again, we appreciate it, Miles and Anthony, of course, for the support here. So
Yeah, thank
cool.
you guys.
Right on.
Thank you so much. Heck yeah.
That's a wrap, boys.
That's a wrap.